Oh boy, you guys, do I have an amazing podcast episode for you this week. This girl is going to knock your socks off. Get ready for an amazing interview with my student Livia, who is just, man, you're going to be so inspired. Whether you're new in the industry, in school, or been in the industry for a while, this girl is going to blow you away. Just wait till you hear her story. I overthink, I overshare, and I overanalyze. So come explore with me as I chat about business, life, and relationships, all through the lens of an anxious creative. All right, you guys, I'm so excited about this week's episode. We've got Livia, and the coolest thing about this is that Livia lives in the town that I grew up in, which is like such a cool coincidence. But before I let her take over the mic, you are going to get blown away by her story. She is 20 years old and she graduated hair school May of 2018. She opened up her own salon August of 2019, got an employee in October of 2019, and she is totally killing it right now. So welcome to the podcast, Livia.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. So we've worked together. We work together one-on-one, and you're also in the mastermind that we do community together and grow together. And I'm just curious because I know people like already just hearing like, holy cow, like I'm not doing nearly as much as she's doing. Like, where did the courage and the bravery come from to do all those things?
Lots of fake it till you make it, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually did not think that I would be a salon owner. Like, it just never crossed my mind. Of course, coming from a small town, me and Dawn graduated from the same high school, actually. Small world.
Did you see my picture in the hallway? I hope not.
I haven't been. Next time I'm there, I'm going to have to go look for it.
It's so bad.
I just thought, okay, so coming from a small town, go to the big city, I'll go to some salon where you wear heels all day and wear a dress and dress to the nines, and it would be so cool. Well, that lasted I didn't even make the whole 8 months in Saskatoon where I went to, or the whole 10 months in Saskatoon. I ended up moving home before then and driving back and forth. Anyways, I wanted this small town life. So it just kind of, all the circumstances lined up one day and I decided to open my own place. So yeah,
I love that. So yeah, so you moved back home while in hair school still and commuted and it's not like, for those of you guys that are listening that don't know about the prairies in Canada, North Battleford is about an hour and 15 minutes from Saskatoon, but that hour and 15-minute drive is like of nothingness, of just like flat prairie field. So it's not driving from like a suburb.
It's true when they say you can see for miles in Saskatchewan.
Absolutely. And I think like from the moment that we first connected, I just like felt that connection, like you being from my hometown is so cool. And I love that we graduated from the same high school, just a few years apart. We'll say
a few
over almost 20. But I think it's so kick-ass that you graduated hair school and then just over a year later, you got licensed, and just over a year later had your own salon. And then you're just like, I'm just pushing forward. And I know that in the mastermind group with the other stylists, like they are so blown away. And that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Like they are so inspired by your, I don't want to say guts, but like your ability to be like, hey, I'm going to push forward. And I know it hasn't come without its own bundle of adversity. And so share with us like a little bit of like some of the, like, it's really easy to look at the glittery, shiny side of like, look at what she's done. Like she just like didn't hesitate. And like, cause I think there's a lot of stylists that wait to do the things and then they wish they would have done it earlier. And you're really just doing the things earlier, which I think is so cool. But that doesn't come with its own fear and pushback. And so share with us a little bit about, the journey of opening up your own business and, being licensed and things like that.
That is so true. And I was the same way. You see somebody with like this cool thing and you're like, oh, wow, that's so awesome. But there is so much that goes on behind the scenes. It was kind of a gong show getting up and running, but I just kind of had to make the best out of the circumstances. And my mom's famous quote that she says all the time when I'm having a hard time, one foot in front of the other. And that's so true. Every little obstacle, I just kept going, even though it was scary and hard. And lots of people just were like, oh, that's so cute. You have your own little place. Like, that's so awesome. You must have like oh, that's just so cute. That's so cute.
They
Like
don't
they
take it
thought,
serious.
yeah, they just thought it was like a little hobby. And I'm like, nope, this is my livelihood. So
Yeah.
I had a little bit of that. Like and then some people that thought that since I was so young, they could kind of like do what they want and say what they want. So there were some struggles with that, and just trying to do things different in a small town, because there's a way that everything's been done for so long. So when I did things different, there were definitely some people talking about it and rocking
Yeah.
the boat for some people, but I don't know, what's the point being the same as everybody else, I thought.
I love that. And the only way to push forward is to be different. And I know, like, so for those of you guys listening, Livy and I first connected and started working together on a one-on-one coaching basis. We did like a 5-week intensive coaching. And I remember like a lot of the like, well, nobody else does this in this small town. And for the, like, I don't know the population now, but when I lived in North Battleford, or like the Battlefords, because there's like North Battleford, the city, and Battleford town, there's like the Battlefords. I think there's like 20,000 people. So it's like you almost know everybody. And small town people talk, and the fear of like the gossip and the fear of being like, known as like that person in the community or whatever. Like you hear other people talking about other people, you fear people talking about you the same way. What was one of the biggest things that you chose to do differently and you pushed through the fear of all of the backlash?
I was really excited to have online booking, which was different, and not working Saturdays. I definitely heard a few things about that. So I don't work Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And there were some people that were like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, these are my days off. And it was almost like some people even said, like, don't you have to work up to that? Like, why are you 20 and you already are giving yourself those days off? So that definitely that, like, people were, and not working evenings either. Some people were just, they couldn't comprehend that. Like they were shocked that I was giving myself a Saturday off.
I love that. Yeah. Like the whole, like, don't you have to work up to that? Like, it's funny how, and I know like everyone's probably already like jaws dropped while they're listening to this. Like, wow, I wish there's going to be so many stylists being like, I wish I would have done that the way Livia's doing it. Cause it's so much easier to start that way than to try and change it later on. And like, why do you don't have to work Saturdays. You don't have to work evenings. Like you should run your business. Your business shouldn't run you. And that's what I think. So like, I wish I would have done things the way you've done them now. Like I know you're turning 21 this year, but you're still 20 years old. And that's so freaking cool. I can't even like put into words like how inspired and in awe I am of what you're doing. And I know like there's been times where, COVID and the stress, and we've chatted and I've been like, you know what, you're still better off. Like all the adversity and I'm curious if you feel this way, like all the adversity that's come and all the hard learning lessons that you've learned because you've taken these giant leaps early on in your career. Do you still feel like it's been worth it?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And lots of it I have you to thank for, because I found you at the perfect time when I was opening. So, and like you said, it's easier to start things off than try and add them in later. So I was so glad to have you for that first little bit while I was opening, because I probably would have done things way different and not as good.
Yeah.
And regretted it.
And knowing that like you don't have to pay your dues, right? Like I could just go back to like you like not working Saturdays. And I remember thinking like, well, I have to work Saturdays until I hit some, and I didn't even have like a clear idea of what it was in my head. I just thought it was like, oh, you just have to achieve some sort of like hierarchy, and realizing like, no, you can do whatever the heck you want. And the clients who aren't okay with it won't come to you, and the clients that are, and you'll find the right people. And you guys, this is the coolest thing that Livia shared with me. So we were doing some data, and from her very first paycheck as a hairstylist she graduated beauty school in May 2018. And now it is, I guess, as we're recording this, it's the end of June, 2020. So 2 years later, she has, and not post COVID, but post quarantine, your first month back after quarantine is 4 times the gross amount than you were making just out of hair school. So you have 4 times your business in 2 years, which is pretty cool. How does that feel to hear that?
Sure. Awesome. I don't know. There's of course the idea when you tell people you're going to hair school, they're like, oh, that's so cute. You better find someone that has lots of money or to marry. Like they think we're so poor and that it's a not so good career choice. So it's awesome that I can make a really good living and do what I love and not work Saturdays.
Yeah, I love it. And make it like at 20, like, yeah. And I think that's the wonderful thing is like, and especially coming from a small town, my hairstylist in North Battleford, when I decided to go to hair school, told me like, Dawn, if you want to be able to support yourself someday, like don't go into this industry. Like I was discouraged by my own stylist, which was so crazy. And I think there's like a bit of guilt that comes with it for us is because, and I really believe that like this generation of us are changing the way hairstylists are viewed. And I know, Livia, you're going to be a trailblazer in North Battleford in a small town, showing people like we can do this differently. And we can have, I always say it's like trust, respect, authority, and loyalty. Like you can have those things as a hairstylist, but we have to step forward first as the professional. And I think you're really doing that. You're going to show the other hairstylists in and around you that like you can own the way you do things. You cannot work Saturdays and be successful. And you don't have to feel guilty about doing well. Mm-hmm. And I think there's like a little bit of that. Do you ever struggle with the guilt of doing well?
A little bit sometimes, of course. And I know sometimes it's jealousy when people kind of look down on it, but I don't know. I'm really happy for other people when they do well. So sometimes it's a little discouraging when people are like, well, what do you mean you're that age and you do this and you do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Why not?
I just did it. Yeah. And really, if like someone's going to talk down to you like that, they're not the right person for you to be around. And I think that's the thing is like some people listening to this might be like, oh, who is she to do it that way? But then other people be like, wow, like other people be more in tune being like, that's kick-ass. That's such a boss move. And like the fact that you're learning, like I wouldn't have even thought to open my own salon, let alone like have an employee, but you're learning things as you go too, and you're growing. And I think that's really cool where I, like for myself, used to think like, well, I have to hit this milestone first, and then I have to do this before I allow myself. And I think a lot of people hold themselves back thinking they have to be in a certain place or a certain age. And I just recently realized like, what up? Like I'm 37, I'm going to be 40 in 3 years. And I was like, oh, 40 is old and like an adult, but I still don't feel like one. And like, then I've held myself back thinking like, well, when I'm like actually grown up, but I don't think we actually ever feel grown up. Mm-mm. Yeah. So share with me some of like the most like, okay. In the last 2 years, like take us through your journey of, like the ups and downs, the like, this was really exciting when you felt the most confident, when you like push forward, and then kind of like I don't want to say like the pushback, but like, I feel like in my career, like I've had really exciting things and I make the decision. And then it's like, as soon as I make the decision, like hard stuff comes up. Mm-hmm. Share with us, like, so I know like opening up your salon was one of those. Share a little bit about that.
It was very exciting, but very scary, just because I also felt a little bit like I had to fake it for sure, because being so new in my career, obviously I haven't seen everything and I don't have as much experience as someone that's done it like 20 years. So lots of it was like, okay, I'm on my own now. I have to make every decision. I don't have someone that can run and save me when something goes wrong. So I just got to figure it out on my own. So that definitely forced me to grow a lot and be very like problem solving all the time, because there was nobody that could just swoop in and help me if I needed help. So that was difficult at times, but that also made me grow in ways that I never would have if I always had someone always like watching everything I do and swooping in to save me. So that was a blessing, and it was also difficult, but I'm glad for that. Yeah, very exciting moments, just opening and seeing people booking and sending other people. That was awesome to see. Like awesome.
Like you were immediately booked out, weren't you?
Yeah, we filled up very, very quick. My apprentice is also so busy. So that makes me feel amazing too, that I can not only like fill my chair, but she can also do very well for herself within my business, which is awesome. Like a great feeling. Yeah, so that was super good, because of course when you go out on your own, you're like, is anyone going to come to me? Am I really like worth coming to see? Are people going to follow me? So that was amazing to see so many referrals, so many new clients. My first month, I had 20 new color clients. So that was a big milestone for sure. And it's just
I forgot
continued
about
since.
that. 20 new color clients in a month.
It was something like that. It was insane. And that's just kind of continued to the point where I can't even fit anyone else in, which is good, but a little bit overwhelming sometimes. Some of the difficult parts were just figuring out what to do when a client's not super happy, or just being the damage control sometimes. Like, you're the one that has to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
Also, all the behind the scenes. I am not a math numbers person whatsoever. So dealing with that was all new, just the behind the scenes. It wasn't even just like doing the actual hair behind the chair. Learning, like, you have to make product orders and you have to get insurance and you have to worry about this and worry about that. So that was definitely new, and had to just figure that out as I went along. I'm very lucky that my mom is good with that stuff.
Yeah, she's a bookkeeper, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky for that. Yeah, it's just been a really crazy year. Very crazy.
And I think that's the thing is, a lot of times I know for me, like I'll get in my head thinking, well, when I go, like, I remember when I went out on my own in 2010 and thinking like, oh my goodness, like I'm not a numbers person. Like I'm such a creative and I can like envision all this stuff, but like, then I'd stress myself out ahead of time thinking, well, now I'm going to have to do this and do this. And realizing like there's going to be parts of owning a business that aren't fun and glamorous. And there's going to be the behind the scenes that nobody sees. And there's going to be the time that you run out of the tube of color that you need for your client. And right? Am I right?
I've done that, yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, oh crap. There's going to be a client that comes back unhappy and you're going to be like, I don't know how the hell to fix this. But that, like, regardless of this, of the big, bold moves you make, you're going to have those situations come up anyway. And I think it's so amazing that not only are you paving a new, like you're forging a new path for other hairstylists to be inspired by and see like, look, I can do that too. And like Livia, like you already are the inspiration for so many people. I know that. And that's why I want to have you on. Cause I'm like, I think it's so amazing. And sometimes we can get caught up. I know we've had these conversations. Sometimes we can get caught up in the, like, what's happening today and feel so overwhelmed by it. Mm-hmm. But when you zoom out and when you have a community, and that's where I kind of want to head to next, when you have a community that's like, holy shit, like look at the things you've done, and kind of help draw you out of what's happening today and let you have perspective. Like, are you able to say you're really proud of yourself?
Yes, without sounding like I'm bragging.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing, is like, you don't want to feel conceited or cocky. Mm-hmm. And then we often downplay our huge achievements because of it.
Yes.
And so, because you've been part of my mastermind group this year, sorry, I'm having a sip of my tea. How important has community been for you? Being, you know, a young business owner in a town that maybe hasn't been as, hasn't embraced your new innovative ways as quickly.
That has been very helpful. Just really nice to have other people that are in the same boat. And it also is nice that they're not right in the same town. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's weird sometimes when you're in the same town trying to connect with like people in the same industry. So that has been super nice, just to have other people that you can bounce ideas off of, or that have your back or can encourage you when you're having a bad day. So that was super nice, because I don't know where I heard it, but when you're the salon owner, you're kind of like alone. Like you can't be like best friends with your staff and stuff. So it's been really nice to just have other people that I can lean on, and I can help them and they can help me. So I really appreciate having that group for sure, and having you to help me through all the little things that come up.
Yeah, you've been such a key excuse me. You've been such a key, I don't want to say member, but like I know you said we've helped you out so much, but I know you've inspired and helped out everyone as well. And so I'm curious, what would you say to someone that's listening right now that's in hair school, or maybe just like working at a salon as an employee and has big dreams, but is like just feeling like, oh, I could never, like, I don't, like, yeah, that would be cool. And I'm really inspired by Livia, but like, I don't think I'm cut out for it. What would you say to somebody that's like that?
Well, I thought the exact same thing. Just first of all, well, if you're in Canada, go get your journeyman,
Yeah.
because once you have that, you can do anything you want. So definitely go get that.
Get licensed. Yeah.
Yes. Just try and take in as much as you can. Even the bad experiences are good, because then you learn how to handle other situations later on. So it is good to sometimes be thrown into things and have to figure them out for yourself. Yeah, have big dreams. Just go for it. I don't know. We're not getting any younger, so just go for it. I just think, what's the worst that could happen? You piss a few people off, but you got to do what you got to do. So if you want to do it, just go for it.
Yeah. Stop waiting. And
Yeah.
how, like, I know you're saying like how much the group helped you. Do you think you could have done it without the support of, like, I know we were working one-on-one right when you were opening the salon, and then like all these things. Do you think you would have done it without the community?
No. Well, it would have been way harder, because I would have felt completely alone. And I mean, my friends and my boyfriend and mom and everyone, they're good listeners, but they don't truly understand what it's like in our industry and the position. Like, they're so very helpful, and I appreciate them so much, but it's just nice to have other people that know exactly what you're going through. So I am very glad to have other like-minded people to talk to.
I think that's the thing too. And there's like a lot of, like, I used to read a lot of business books and things like that, but I was like, this is missing the mark, because it doesn't get, our industry is so different, because there's a lot of business education, but we develop such deep relational bonds with our clients that it then becomes more like family, but then you have to like have boundaries, and you're talking, you're taking money from them and things like that. And I'm curious, I don't know, when you were an employee, did you have to collect the money, or did you have a receptionist?
Both jobs that I had previously, there was a receptionist at one, but lots of the times we were in charge of doing it ourselves. So that definitely helped me now, because I don't have a receptionist. So getting that kind of awkward, telling them their total and passing them the debit machine it's definitely different when you just whisper the number to someone and they deal with it.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because I remember I went from working in a salon that we had a receptionist. So we just like wrote down the number on like our book for them before online booking, and then walked away and was like, sweet, like, like, I don't have to deal with it if they're upset. And then when I went out on my own, like, I like became instantly terrified of like handing them the machine. Yeah. And because I was scared of like them like questioning not even my ability, my worth, and like, who are you? And then I made the assumption that they thought I was pocketing all that money. And like, I'd be like, no, like, I'm not, like, and I even like in my own brain had tricked my brain thinking, yeah, I'm pocketing all that money, forgetting like I have to pay rent, I have to pay for product. Yeah. And I know we've talked about Salon Scale. That's where like Salon Scale comes into play, which is like helps us charge for product and stuff. And then learning like you need to buy supplies for your salon, like toilet paper and tissue and cleaning supplies. And like there's all these factors of costs that we have to factor into what we charge our clients to keep our business running. But you already had a good handle on that, which makes going out on your own so much easier.
Another thing that helps so much, and you preach to, is sitting across from them and having a face-to-face consultation. I've been doing that since I opened, and oh my God, the first time I did it, I felt so awkward. I was like, they're gonna think I'm so weird, like just pulling up a chair beside them and talking to them. But it went over super well. The first time I kind of had to kick myself in the ass and just do it. And I just noticed like they are more comfortable with you and they tell you way more. And I always give a quote. So then I've never had the problem at the till where they're like, oh my God, why is it this? And I had no idea. So definitely recommend doing that. It saves so much stress later.
If you got a quick plug, if you guys didn't know, I have a whole program called Rocket Consultation.
And you need to take it.
It does really help, because I always say the consultation is so much more than what would you like done with your hair today? It's really building the foundation of the future relationship and how they trust and respect you moving forward. Because it's not just about like asking them what they want, but it's also like setting up the proper expectations, getting them to understand the risks and signing off on a waiver, getting them to know about your cancellation policy. And like, I remember when I created it for my own business, I was like, well, now I'll have proof that I can like pull out their consult form and be like, look, you signed here. But literally it's taken that away because I've had that face-to-face conversation. And I know inside the program, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but I have like a whole thing about unspoken communication and how like actually by not having that face-to-face, if you think of someone standing above you and behind you and asking you something, you're going to be more agreeable, and you might not actually tell someone you don't want something because you kind of feel intimidated, right? But if you like go to the front, they might be able to tell you before you do the hair, like, oh, I actually don't really want that. But they might go, oh, okay, yeah, because they think they have to. And so by reducing that intimidation, we actually get our clients to be more honest, and we reduce how many like fixes that aren't really fixes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
I love
sure.
that. So donbradley.com/RYC if you want to get in on Rock Your Consultation. I love that. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
It was so helpful. And of course you feel awkward as shit, like pulling up a chair to someone and just being like, oh, we're just going to chat a little bit, because they're kind of like, why? Because everyone's so used to just like, they're standing back here and they're like, oh, what do you want today? And I even had a client that was just like, thank you for taking the extra time and doing that. Like, she really appreciated it. And I'm sure others have too. It just, it's more personal than just standing and looking at them in the mirror.
I love that. So what do you think is next for you, Livia?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of just, when an opportunity comes up, I take it, and I don't know what's next for me. Love to do some traveling when the borders open, and do some classes in the States. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. No big dreams because being only 2 years in and having accomplished so much, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
Career-wise, I don't know. I would love to have a salon on Main Street in, like Dawn said, there's 2 Battlefords. So in the other Battleford on Main Street, they have a bunch of old, cute little buildings. So I would love to one day have a salon there and maybe have some aesthetic services. So maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
I really don't know where I'll be in 10 years. I don't even know where I'll be tomorrow. So
I love that. People used to ask me that question, and I was like, I kind of have this theory, because some people are like really on like goal setting and future pacing and like knowing, but I always felt like that ties me down to only one thing. And I'm like the queen of changing my mind.
same.
And I always want to be moving forward and growing and going forward. But that means like, sorry, my dog is losing his mind upstairs. Hold on. All right, we're back. My dog was started barking, so we had to do a little interruption. So talking about goals, like I think like my perspective on it is you don't have to tie yourself down to like one idea of what it has to be like. And then you're kind of setting yourself up for possible disappointment, because you might go in this direction and you're still growing and moving forward, but just slightly in a different way. So I think that's pretty cool that you have like, this would be neat, but who knows? So I think having an open mind.
For sure. And if something comes up that is a good opportunity, I'll take it. I don't know. I'm the queen of not planning anything or writing things down. My mom always tells me to make lists and I don't. So if a good opportunity comes my way, I'll take it for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Livia, you're an inspiration to me. Like, honestly, if I could go back in time and, have you as a mentor to me early on in my career, I know that I would have taken big steps a lot sooner. It took me 10 years until I went out on my own.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
So on Instagram, Live in the Dream Hair Co. Actually, let me double check that real quick, because my website is one and the Instagram's another. Jeez, I'm terrible. Yes, Live in the Dream Hair Co. on Instagram. It's spelled funny though. LIVN, then the dream, no apostrophe or I, spelled goofy. And then my website is liveinthedreamhaircompany.ca with the same weird livin without the I.
LIVN.
Yes.
So livin, LIVN is livin
people.
The Dream Hair Co. I love it. Well, I know that I'm going to continue. Well, I have the honor and privilege to be your mentor and coach. And I think it's so amazing. Like I said, it is such an honor to like be part of this journey with you and seeing you taking such big leaps and bounds. And I know you've encouraged so many people and inspired them. And I know this podcast is going to get people like making moves. And so if you guys listening have enjoyed this and you've been inspired by Livia, reach out to her on Instagram
please.
Shoot her a message through her website, Live in the Dream Hair Co. It's LIVN Living the Dream Hair Co. And I can't wait to see where you are in 10 years. It's going to be so awesome. And hopefully we have you back on the podcast before 10 years from now. But it'll be really exciting to chat with you and see, if you've achieved this much in the first 2 years, 4Xing your business, opening up your own salon, having an employee, I cannot wait to see what even the next 2 years will look like, Livia.
Thank you so, so much. It was an absolute pleasure to be on today. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Woo! Like seriously, if you've been in the industry for a while, don't you wish that you could zoom back in time and be as ballsy as Livia? Like, she is just taking her career by the horns. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. She is just a boss, and she's doing things, and she's doing them scared, she's doing them afraid, and she's coming along, she's finding road bumps and speed bumps. But the one thing that I learned along my journey is I wish I would have just taken some of the leaps beforehand anyway. I wish I would have just tried some of the things instead of waiting until I was a certain age or at a certain place in my career thinking that would give me permission. I want you to know right now that you have permission to go after everything you want. And if you're interested in having community and accountability along there with you, I want to invite you to check out Rock Your Business. Get on the wait list if it's not currently enrolling when you're listening to this. Get on the wait list at dawnbradley.com/RYB. Seriously, my wait list gets early access to enrollment. They get kick-ass exclusive bonuses, and Livia is living proof of a student who not only has gone through the programs, but has taken action. I've worked with her one-on-one as well and inside a mastermind. But the place for you to start now is to get into a community of people like Livia who are doing big things, because you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I think that was Jody actually that said that a couple weeks ago. And truly, this is the community that you want to be around with, that brings you up, that has you making big, bold moves that are smart and right for you, so that you can start having that life and business and bank account you've always dreamed of. All right, until next week, have a fabulous week. Like, subscribe. If you like this episode, go drop Livia a DM in Livin' the Dream Hair Co. She would love to hear that. But most importantly, let's spread the love and let's change the industry together. So screenshot this, share this on your stories, leave a review. I love seeing them so much. And then we'll talk to you next week.